Hey, good morning, everybody. Recently had a project where the owner had a substantial number of parameters that they wanted information filled into for their BAS systems or other on-campus systems where they're trying to, control what their facilities are and where the data goes once they receive, deliverables at the end of a project. And we started to look at what those parameters were, and often those parameters were duplicates, in essence, of ones that are already in Revit, built-in parameters. And so we were struggling a little bit with which ones to fill in, which ones to use, especially room name and room number were one that were pretty challenging because our consultants obviously rely on that, especially our MEP folks heavily, to coordinate between spaces and rooms with numbers and names. So thinking about the best way to do that, we could have waited till the end of the project and just copied everything over as a part of the deliverable. We didn't really do that, so we tried to leverage some Dynamo to push values kind of as a one-time thing, but then how do we keep them up to date as we go through without running the Dynamo graph, on a weekly basis or whatnot. And so a solution, for the time being anyway, was actually to create an updater that will synchronize parameters. So you can see here now, obviously, just standard room. We have room name, room number, just your built-in parameters in Revit, not a big deal, and nothing really else here. So if we go and we do a new project parameter, and I'm gonna and this is just an example of one of the parameters that we were asked to do. As I said, it's a room category, just a text parameter in this case, but it's a room name and it's for an owner. I said to be able to kind of leverage their information. So we do that. So again, if I come in here and change, this to testing, for instance, that was the room number, excuse me. Do this, and we change this one, let's say 1101. You can see obviously we have the room name, room number here, but then this UNMC room name, we have nothing here. And I can type my name in and we don't have anything happening there. But if we leverage an auto updater in the background, and I can go turn that on here. So we have parameter sync settings. So I can turn on synchronization. You can tell it to swap, so we actually do have it set up to where if you wanted to fill in the owner's parameter, then it would actually push it back to the built-in parameter, but default is to go from the built-in parameter to the owner's parameter. And then we actually have it set up on the backside, which I'll show the XML file here in a second, where we've actually created labels inside the XML file so we can actually provide it for multiple different owners if we need to along the way. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit save there. So that enables the updater and then tells the system which set of parameter copies to use. So now if I go back to this, and it does it anytime a room parameter is modified, except for geometry. So the geometry of the room can be adjusted all day long, but if you actually adjust a parameter inside the room, then that's when the updater will fire and affect the value. So if I were to go back over here and say office, then if I hit enter, you should be able to see here, then that up here changed to office as well. And I can show that again here where I can go to, say, Sean's office. I'll hit enter. You can see here, watch this whenever that parameter finally sticks. That if I hit apply, so then Sean's office is up there. So now if I wanted to, I could go back here to the settings again and I can say swap that. And if I hit save, now if I go and pick here, I can do testing room. And if I apply, we'll see this change to testing room. Now, because those things are linked, you can only do it one way. So if I, again, came down here and tried to change the value in the built-in parameter and hit apply, then it's actually not going to stick. It's going to continue to use the one and the other value to make sure people aren't putting things in two different spots. And the nice thing about that is you can also just do it with parameters on the fly as well. So I'm going to go add another one here. Make this also a text parameter. Change that. So hit OK. And then, so you'll see this 1101, I'm going to change it to 1200. We obviously don't have anything happening here at the moment, but if we hop over to the XML file, you can see here's that room name with the internal parameter, which is just the built-in name, and the external, I'm just going to paste here because I had this copied earlier, that room number. So those two things I just added there, I'm going to go ahead and hit save on that to save that XML file. And if I just come back over here and basically reload these settings, and I'm going to turn the swap back off, say hit there again. Now if I were to change this to 1301, let's say, then if I pick this, you can now see that room number is 1301, and same here. If I do 1400, we see the 1400 switch up there. So it's really easy just to add parameters in an XML file and or into the model on the fly. And that way, if you do have parameters that come along in the project, you can adjust those. One thing we may be looking at is the ability to kind of hit a one-time update things. Like I said, right now it's based on the rooms being modified. So it doesn't just push it automatically when it's turned on. So that might be something we look at into the future. We just want to make sure we have the directionality the right way when somebody pushes that and turns it on, that we don't end up with everything going the wrong direction. So as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. It's kind of a fun thing to work on, just getting those parameters linked up, but it's an easy way to coordinate things mainly. So I think the best piece here is you can continue to use your default or your standard schedules and your standard labels, and you can kind of use all your standard things that may be in your templates, but still provide the owner the information they're looking for. So you don't have to do as much rework, but then also being able to know that those values are consistently synchronized and that you don't end up with a room schedule that has both parameters next to each other with wildly different values. So yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out as always, and have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.